Hi everyone, hope you are all fine and safe at home. Okay, children, today we are going to see about the concluding part of the lesson, the making of the national movement. So, now let us learn about the civil disobedience movement and salt satyagraha from 1931 to 31. The Lahore session of Congress took place in the year 1929 under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. This session has been significant in the country of India for the resolution of attainment of Purna Swaraj or complete independence. The aim was proposed to be achieved through the civil disobedience movement. On March 12, 1930, Gandhiji called for the Dandi March at the Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad. Through the march, Gandhiji decided to protest against the British salt laws. He planned to take up a march to Dandi, a small village on the coast of Gujarat, and manufacture salt there. Gandhiji, along with 28 followers, marched forward 375 kilometers from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, which took around 24 days. The newspapers published the news about the march, the speeches during the march, and the influence of the people. On 6th April 1930, Gandhiji reached Dandi. He picked up a handful of salt and dropped the salt as a sign of protest of Indians to live under the rule of British and British laws. The news of the march spread instantly to the other places in the country. The people were influenced immensely. There were protests against the salt laws in various places. The women also actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. Around 1,600 women were imprisoned in Delhi along with salt satyagraha. The civil disobedience movement also included picketing of foreign cloth and liquor shops. These shops were burned by people. The Government of India Act 1935 called for provincial autonomy and elections were announced to the provincial legislatures in the year 1937. Governments were formed by Congress in 7 provinces out of 11. In September 1939, 2 years after the Congress rule, the Second World War began. After careful evaluation of Hitler, the Congress leaders decided to support the British. The Congress leaders wanted independence for India from the British in the turn to their support in the World War II. Now let us learn about the Quit India movement. Quit India movement 1942, do or die. The British wished to utilize the sources of India, that is, people and the money, for World War II. As we have seen earlier, the Congress wanted British to grant independence in return for the support. The British government, however, was not interested in accepting this demand. On August 8, 1942, the Working Commission of the Congress met at Bombay and passed a resolution that stressed on the immediate end of the British rule in India. This was the Quit India resolution that was passed, after which Gandhiji addressed his teammates. Every one of you should from this moment onwards consider yourself a free man or woman and act as if you are free. I am not going to be satisfied with anything short of complete freedom. We shall do or die. We shall either free India or die in this attempt. This was how Gandhiji motivated people of India and gave the slogan do or die. On August 9, 1942, most of the Congress leaders like Gandhiji, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Acharya Kripalani, Rajendra Prasad and others were arrested by the government. There were protests and hartals across the country that made the movement violent. While the working class boycotted work from factories, the students attacked police stations, post offices, railway stations and public places. The telephone and telegraphic line were cut off by the protestants. Government buildings, vehicles, railway carriages and military vehicles were burnt. Around 10,000 pounds of properties were destroyed in the movement. Around 30 policemen and 10 army men lost their lives, while many hundreds of people were killed and thousands were arrested as a part of government suppression. The cities of Bombay and Madras were the most affected as a result of the protest. The authority of the British disappeared in areas of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. A parallel government was set up in the Midnapur during 1942 to 44 towards independence and partition. As all these was happening in the year 1940, The Muslim League moved a resolution that demanding independent states for Muslims in the northwestern and eastern areas in the country. There was no mention of partition or Pakistan in the resolution. Children, why do we think the League demanded a separate arrangements for the Muslims in the subcontinent? The League tried to get a separate state for the Muslims from the Hindus in the late 1930s. The history of struggle between some of the Hindu and Muslim groups is seen as one of the causes of separate state. In addition, the provincial election of 1937 pointed to the League that the Muslims were a minority in the country and that they would continue to have the same status in any democratic structure. There was a fear in the League that the Muslims may not be represented. Another important aspect is that during 1930s, the Congress failed to mobilize the Muslims. The League acted upon the situation and expanded its social support. In the 1940s, the League tried to widen its support at a time and most of the Congress leaders were imprisoned. At the end of the Second World War in 1945, the British called for a dialogue between the Congress, the League, and themselves to declare independence of India. But children, the Congress did not accept the League's decision as a large group of Muslims still extended the support to it. In the year 1946, the elections to the provinces took place although the Congress earned success in the general constituencies. That League backed huge success in the Muslim reserved states. At the same time, the demand for Pakistan remained. In March of 1946, a mission was set up by the British cabinet which consisted of Stratford Cripps, Bethwick Lawrence, Alexander. This committee came to Delhi to analyze the demand for Pakistan while suggesting a feasible political framework for free India. Mission recommended that India should continue to be a united while constituting itself a concentration with some autonomy for Muslim majority regions. With the failure of the recommendations of the cabinet mission, planned a mass protest on Pakistan. August 16, 1946 was decided to be the direct action day. There were and Calcutta there were riots and Calcutta that went on for many days which resulted in the deaths of thousands of people. Children, this violence spread to various places in the country gradually. Louis Mountbatten, the viceroy, in 1947 failed to resolve the difference between the Congress and the Muslim League. Subsequently, it was a dream that India would be split into Hindu-dominant India and Muslim-controlled Pakistan. Thus, India became independent on August 15, 1947, while Pakistan became independent on 14th August 1947. Although the partition was completed, many thousands of people were killed, while number of women underwent many brutal attacks. Lakhs of people were forced to leave their homes as a result of which they become refugees in unknown lands. This was how the independence of India not only brought in joy but also a lot of pain to several people due to the partition. That's all for this lesson, and we will going to see India after independence in the next session. Thank you.